America enjoyed a mostly unchallenged command of the commons, airspace, sea, space, and cyberspace. The era of uncontested U.S. dominance is over. Today, we face serious threats in China, Russia, and other nations determined to beat us in every single domain.
The trouble with this statement that you just heard from the US Vice President is that you might hear it and think, this sounds like an overstretched imperialist finally come to terms with its fundamental limitations and inevitable failure, and making plans to figure out its place in this new multipolar world. No, that's not what is happening. That's not what he said, and that's not what he meant. He said, the era of uncontested US dominance is over. Keyword, uncontested. Because as he went on to lay out in this speech, which he delivered a couple of weeks ago at the graduation ceremony of the US Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, the Trump-Vance vision for America involves a lot of contesting, specifically military contesting. According to Mr. Vance, this new era of US foreign policy will dial back the emphasis on so-called soft power, i.e. the NGOs and secret intelligence networks behind them that have come to make up what is essentially a global shadow government, and instead ramp up strategic use of hard power, shooty, pokey stuff, which he explained will align US foreign policy priorities with simple and defined outcomes, such as bombing the Houthis in Yemen for the sole purpose of protecting American cargo vessels, just to mention anything about Israel. Anyway, in this speech, Vance also reiterated a sentiment he had previously expressed about how China supposedly cheated its way to the top by concealing the true extent of its technological capacity and its geopolitical ambitions from the US. Now, this isn't just an unhinged thing that JD Vance likes to say. This is genuinely a thing that many across the political spectrum in the US genuinely believe. They think that the economic rise of China, which has existed continuously for several millennia, and which has a population nearly 5 times that of the US, is somehow inherently unfair to the US because it is apparently America's God-given rights and manifest destiny to rule the rest of the world. This suspiciously racist idea is pervasive in US power circles. You can hear it expressed in some way, shape, or form everywhere from political speeches by the Vice President to Secretary of State Marco Rubio's Senate confirmation hearing.
Communist Party of China, that leads PRC, is the most potent and dangerous near-peer adversary this nation has ever confronted. It's an extraordinary challenge. It's one that I believe will define the 21st century. When they write the book about the 21st century, there's going to be some chapters in there about Putin. There's going to be some chapters in there about some of these other places. But the bulk of that book about the 21st century will be not just about China, but about the relationship between China and the United States and what direction it went.
Now, if you're interested in a peaceful multipolar world, this posturing should worry you because it signals one terrifying truth about the empire. It does not understand the concept of sharing resources and coexisting with peers. The only type of relationship that it finds acceptable is one where it is dominant, and others either the economically exploited serfs, as with much of the global south, or the obedient geopolitical proxies, as is the case with Japan and South Korea. As soon as China broke out of that self role and asserted its geopolitical sovereignty, the empire immediately began planning for war. And JD Vance has told us exactly why.
Well, too many of us believed that economic integration would naturally lead to peace by making countries like the People's Republic of China more like the United States.
So, naturally, war.